So, new bundle. Action. Yes. We're going to start with the Tzvi. Sorry, Gabby. I'm not sure whether it's me. I can't see you. There we go. Oh, that's not nice. I didn't just block you.
You don't have to see that too.
It's okay. There we go. It's okay. So the angle will be wrong. It doesn't matter. Right. Tzvi. And this is a tshuva, actually, to Diane Grossnas of London Based. Simon Chav. Nisa b'nisuin ezrachiyim b'shuv nisas la'acher b'loi get im bonei ha'ksherim. Question was as follows. Isha achas. Moras A. Niseis b'shnas 1921 b'temple reformi. She got married in 1921 in a reform temple. Lefi dvareha osva nisuin shama. According to her, why did they get married in a reform temple? Mipnei shavi balo shabam Polania. Her father-in-law came from Poland. He couldn't get any job other than being a shamash in a reform temple. So they presumably got a discounted rate on marriage or something there. Betchilas shnas 1932, Ozva is Bala. 11 years later, she abandons her husband. Betchilas shana 1934. In 1934, Nizgarsha Mimenu Bar Kois. She divorces. She gets divorced from him. Bar Kois is civilly. Al Yisoid Shazinsa Imeshes Echad Acher, because on the basis of her infidelity, we shall put it politely, right? Her infidelity. But Isa Shana, in that year, she then gets married to somebody else, Benisuin Ezrachim. So now we're in 1934. She now marries somebody else civilly. In 1932, in Elul Noldalo Bas, when she was married to the first fellow, just coming at the end of that, she had a daughter. Now, it says that she left her husband in 1932, but in 1932 she also had a daughter. So who's the dad? On the birth certificate, husband A is written as the father of this child. In 1935, she has another daughter, and in the birth certificate, the second husband is named as the father of child 2. Both girls are now ready and are going to get married, and the question is, can they get married? Are they mamzeris? Because the mother did not have a proper gerushin, or maybe these girls are ksherim lovoi lekahol, that they don't have the stigma of mamzeris. We're still in the question. This is the shaila he gets from Diane Grossnas from London Based.
Why the first one?
Why mamzer?
Yeah. Oh, because there was never any suing for the first.
Doesn't do mamzeris. Doesn't do mamzeris.
So yeah. So exactly. So let's see. V'hinei yesh lanu tzad heter echad lahatiron. We have one very simple approach to be matter them. Dehayu kiddushin b'lo yedim. Because the first kiddushin is done in the Reform Temple, and the truth is, my friends, we are kind of touching on this a little bit. I'm not going to do it as a separate topic because it would take us a few more weeks, and I really want to make some more progress. But we are going to touch onto this, and Reb Moshe Feinstein is in the Tshuvas we're going to learn from. Reb Moshe will also come across this, okay? And you will at some point possibly come across a situation where you're asked to a second marriage, and the first one was done in a conservative, reform, progressive, liberal, egalitarian, reconstructionist. Gastronomic, I don't know, all the other, I'm not familiar with all the different forms of Judaism, or alleged, whatever. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? So this will be kind of the sort of thing. So here says Dan Grossnas, perhaps we can absolutely disregard and discount the first one as having any halachic validity. Why? Given sheyodua shehashaychim letemple hem mechalel Shabbos b'far hesya va'ovrei averos psulim le'edus. And this is the first thing I will mention, just by the way, which I'm sure you know, and that is under the chuppah, other than the Chosin and the Kala, the two most important people are the Eidei Kiddushin. Not the Rav, not the parents, nobody else. It is the Eidei Kiddushin. Because Eidus and Kiddushin is Eidus Lekiyum Hadover. And therefore, if you are makpid, if you're going to have a fight, I mean, never try and have a fight with anybody, obviously. But if you are going to put your foot down when being involved in Siddur Kiddushin, the time to do it, the thing to do it on, is on the Eidei Kiddushin. That they should be Shomrei Shabbos. They should be Yidden with a Cheskas Kashrus. A mentor of mine, a senior Rav in London, gave me the honor of being a aide at Kiddushin at one of his children's chasnas. So when he gave me the honor, I said, okay, I get the message. He said, what do you mean? I said, you're telling me I really need to do tshuva. Because that's steht in Halacha, you're meant to do tshuva before you say vidui, and do tshuva before you become an Eid Kiddushin. Because in case, remember, a person who is, we're going to learn, at some point we have to learn, we're going to have to know that. The halachas of psulim le'edus, what is pasul le'edus? And the most important ones is not Eidim on the Ksuba, Eidus Lekiyam Hadava, because we're going to see in Chazal that Eidei Kiddushin, they effect, not affect, they create, they validate, they create Kiddushin. There is no Kiddushin, not just because I have no way of authenticating or validating whether it happened, but they actually create the state of Ishus. They are Eidus Lekiyum Hadava, and therefore they need to be El Chayid and Shomrei Torah mitzvahs. And it is in Halacha, the minhag is one does tshuva before you become an Eid Kiddushin. I know many people who refuse to become an Eid Kiddushin. Many El Chayid, and it's those people that refuse. It's actually the ones that you actually want to have them. But I have a chaver who's a Talmud Chacham. He refuses. Says, I'll do anything. I'll sing under the chuppah for you. I'll dance. I'll do anything you want. I'm happy to be part of your simcha. Please don't ask me to be an aid, because he takes it so seriously, and he's chayshud for himself that he's not a good enough Jew. Halavai, I would be like that. Anyhow, so the point is, when you are talking about a kiddushin at a Reform temple, they are definitely them Chalal Shabbos b'Fahesia v'Oivri Averos Shepsulim Leidus. V'Gam Eino Medaktikin Klal Shehakidushin Yu Kedin. Let's face it, they are not going to be particular like you are going to be once you know all the halachos properly, that the Kiddushin will be done correctly. The Al Piroiven Miyached the Kiddushin, very often they're not Miyached, set aside and specify the Eidim for Kiddushin. Even if they happen to be in the audience, and this is a separate topic, but even if they happen to be in the audience, says Daiz Grosnas, people who are Eidim were Ksherim, Ein Eidus Mayeless. Because then, if you haven't been meyached them, then they are Eidim together with the whole pool of Eidim. And you have inside that pool of Eidim, close family relatives who are apostle. So you have Eidus Shabbatla Miktsas, or Batla Kula, the halach is. If an Eidus which is partly bottled, the whole thing's gone. Even if you're going to tell me that they are meyached, the Eidim, meyachdim es harabbai, ve'es hachazan, chazanit, shel ha-temple, shebevadai psulim heim. As far as we're concerned, they are definitely postal Eidus. V'havakim kaddish b'li Eidim. She'ein kiddush or kiddushim, and therefore there was never an Eish. So point number one, Dain Grosnas writes to the Har Tzvi, to Tzvi Pesach, that almost certainly the correct way to view this Nisuin in a Reform temple is that it's not a kiddushin. Point number one. Legabe, sorry, yeah. Legabe habechira. And as far as the older girl is concerned, yesh oid shnei tzedodei heta. There are two more reasons tzedodim to be matir. Number one, aleph, ulai be'emes noldu b'bal harishon. Maybe, indeed, the first husband is her father. Because she had not yet married at the time of the birth, the conception and the birth of child number one, she had not yet married the second husband in a civil ceremony, and therefore maybe she went back to him, and maybe it is indeed his son. Base. Even if you're going to say that actually it may be the first kid is not from the first husband, maybe she had a relationship with a Gentile, in which case the Vlad is kosher. Since the first one was born before the civil marriage, therefore, she was not yet set aside, as it were, to the second one. So the first kid either might have been from the first husband, or, as it indeed states, or might have been from a Gentile or somebody else, in which case, since she had not yet even done this civil marriage yet, so the kid is kosher. So therefore, this is the shaila of Dayan Grosnas to Tzvi Pesach.
The
Yes.
second husband is for sure Jewish.
The second husband, I don't think the shaila here is the yichus. The yichus is, and then this is a good point. Good point. And this, by the way, is always, as you know, especially nowadays, we've done enough. We've spoken about this at length. He's not going into that.
Okay.
Um,
Because it says
other
here,
than
the Nachi, it would be Vlad Kosher.
if she was mezana
right.
with a nochri, then the vlad would be kosher,
But
because that's how we pass
maybe-
him.
And in the Nisuin is Achim, it could be also that he's a Nachi.
No,
I don't know.
but he's Jewish.
Okay.
The second guy is Jewish, apparently.
Right. Okay.
Right. So
Just
we're
making
not
sure.
the yichus is not up for really is not the shaila here.
Okay.
The question is the status of the kid. Says answers of Tzvi Pesach. Tshuva Rabbeinu. Achri derech mavay hashalom v'abracha koroi. Zem izman shekibalti gam michtovei hasheni. He says, I've already received your second letter. She'adava tokuf lahoshiv b'dvar hasheni shel kveti rasa herach b'pa. Apparently now it's getting urgent. Avol I was ill, and then many days that now Baruch Hashem Yoramti me'amita. I'm still weak. Over the page. But now I'm going to deal with your question. Ke'en zero isi b'tshuvas ein Yitzchak. Chelik sheni lagon mikavana shemedaber beruach zeh. Rabbi Yitzchak, he references a tshuva from Rabbi Yitzchak Elchanan Spector, the Kovner Rav, not the Dvar Avram that we spoke about, but the Pesach Hadoir of that doir was Rabbi Yitzchak Elchanan Spector. Yes? He wrote Zeche Yitzchak, Ein Yitzchak on Evan Ezer. Okay? V'sham b'simin samach daled nochet gam kein de bereia be'alma nitztarfu apsulin levatel kol haedus. Rabbi Yitzchak Elchanan agrees with Dayan Grosnas Svara that when you have others present at a kiddushin and you're not meyached eidin, and the others who are there and just witness, and they are psulim, that it invalidates the whole thing. So, the psulim are mitztarif and they are mevatel the whole edus. Gam yesh mitzarif shittas haritva. Furthermore, you can combine with the shitta of the ritva. The be'ede kiddushin v'adei mitztarif and b'shas re'iyah. That ede kiddushin are mitztaref at the moment that they see, and therefore, says the Tzvi, he's quite comfortable to say that really the Kiddushin in the Reformed Temple was not a good Kiddushin. Rabbi Yitzchak Elchanan Spector summarizes and decides, Al-Kain Mimela Einon Rashom Lahachme Bezeh Umate Shom Gamkin Alidei Svek Sveka. V'hineni maskim lachros kvod Teirosoi v'dina lahatis hashtei bonus lovi b'kal Hashem. Therefore, says Reb Tzvi Pesach, no problem, there's no mamzeiros here. There's no mamzeiros because there was no nisuin. There was no kiddushin. This is Reb Tzvi Pesach Frank. Har Tzvi was Reb Tzvi Pesach Frank, Rabbosh Shel Yerushalayim, right? One of the very big poskim. We'll look up his exact biography, what year he died, but we're looking at the 1930s, 40s, 50s. Possibly even in the 60s. I'm not sure when he was nifta. Okay, Agav. Okay, leave out. You can leave out this paragraph.
1960.
Leave out. What one did he?
1960. He was nifta.
Thank you. So I was pretty much spot on. Okay, that's good. Right, we can leave out the next paragraph. It's not. So there's no nisoya. Yesh lahoisev. Now go to the bottom of the page. Furthermore, was found in the writings of Tzvi Pesach the following: Yesh lahoisev. Masha amarti miklar del inyan chashash kiddushin. Given the doru achakach kamashonim yachad, and this is really the main thing that interests us. Since they lived many years together as man and wife, hine milvad masha kosak kveiterosi the kanli shachle memikeh chazoke in other ways bilos bilaznus. This kavan lekadsho du choshav kiddushin orishin kiddushin heim. So then. I'm not sure whether this came from Dayan Grosnas or this is Tzvi Pesach saying it off his own bat. He is saying, given that from their perspective, the first marriage was a proper marriage. So when he was intimate with her, he didn't need to think, oh, this is Biel Shem Kiddushin. Because as far as he was concerned, as far as they were concerned, they were married. Therefore, you don't need to come onto the whole thing of Chazaka in Adomesa Bilasa Bilaznus or Baal Hashem Kiddushin. He's not Baal Hashem Kiddushin. Kiddushin I did in the Reform Temple, from my perspective. So that doesn't come into the equation. Okay? And therefore, even if there was and even if it was a suffix, but you can't have Kiddushin on a suffix. And it's really interesting. This idea is going to be picked up, this svara, listen carefully, is going to be picked up by Rav Moshe Feinstein, and in a very interesting case. Maybe there's a suffix. Here's the thing. Maybe there's a suffix. When you have a situation where you're not able to ascertain what the kavanah of the fellow was, and maybe even the chazaka, it's not clear, because we have a machlikas Rashba and the Rivosh, when we say ein odomesa bilasa bilazunus in a case of Aveira, right? So even if it's maximum, it is going to be a suffix, but you still need Eidus. And the Eidim don't know what's going on. Normally we say, this is a really important svara, get this clear in the Lomdus. Sveika dairaisa l'chumra, right? And that could be l'chumra to be matzrich a get. Okay? But even if there is a genuine suffix, if that suffix cannot be decided by any method, then you need to look at the Eidim, because you also need Eidim for Kiddushin. Okay, they're outside the door. Hein hein Eidei Yichud, that doesn't matter. But they need to know for sure that what is going on inside is L'Shem Kiddushin. And if we can't know, then they certainly can't know. If they can't know, they can't be made on something. There is no Eidos. Maybe there's no Kiddushin. Got that?
So if the Eidim have a suffix on what they're doing Kiddushin,
whether there is or isn't, then that's not Eidos. Eidos has to be on something which is definite. That is a very important svara in the whole thing that's going on over here.
So every time we're talking about Eidos, it's a different situation regarding something.
Eidos is I testify that there was a Kiddushin here.
Exactly. So
I observed a Kiddushin.
Testifying cannot be on a suffix.
Correct. That's exactly the point. So even if you were able to somehow be poshet the shaila, or the machlokes say between the Rivosh and the Rashba, about whether you do extend chazaka in other ways, but as long as a suffix remains, you're going to run into a separate roadblock, which is a lack of edus. Mimela, there's no kiddushin.
Why do we have then Eidim on Hede Yichud? Yes, they're not.
Because there's no suffix. Because there is no suffix. Yes. This is a young couple that have just agreed. They've just stood 5 minutes ago under a chuppah with a rav, and they said, "Hariyam Kadashli Kadas Moshe Yisrael." So they know exactly what's going on in front of Eidim. They know exactly what's going on. There is no suffix there.
So, but the Eidim are just on Yichud. They're not.
But hein Eidei Yichud. I'm not sure whether you were here right at the beginning when we did this. It's a Gemara. Hein Eidei Yichud, hein Eidei Bia.
Okay.
That's a Gemara.
Okay.
But the Yichud has to be the Shem Kiddushin. So when you have a doubt and there's no Chazaka or an Umdana, then Mimela you can't have Eidos. You can't have Eidos. There's going to be no Kiddushin anyway. And that's the Tzvi Pesach. Let's move on to Rav Moshe.
What is an
Sorry?
What is an umdana?
Umdana is a very, very important word. Let's see, what would be the best way to translate the word? Umdana is when there is a strong, reasonable assumption to draw a conclusion. Now, there's different levels of umdana, by the way, in Halacha. There's umdana de muchach, umdana de she'enoi muchach. There's dvarim shebelev, dvarim shebeliboy ubelev kol adam. It's when you are inferring and drawing meaning of an action from a context. And it has different levels of certainty. There is something called an umdana de muchach, which means it is based on either chazaka, human behavior, psychology, or chazal. Chazaka is a form of an umdana. We're actually going to dig a little bit further into it in the Lomdus of Rav Moshe in a minute, right? Okay, it's a very important word to know. Oimeid hadas with an aleph means a critical assessment, right? A plausible assessment. Now, let's turn to the next shaila we have. We have 4 or 5 tshuvos of Rav Moshe, and we're going to skim over 1 or 2 of them, but one of the reasons I am bringing in Rav Moshe, Rav Moshe, you can never learn an important topic in halacha upon which he speaks without learning him. You have to learn him anyway. But in doing so, I'm also saving you from extra work, which is, I want to introduce you to another very great halachic personality of the 20th century in America. He was in Poland, then came over and was one of the important poskim, find him, in America. And his name was Rabbi Yosef Eliyahu Henkin. Not sure whether you've heard of him, Rav Henkin. Rav Henkin was a big posek in America, and he wrote a sefer, Shuvas, one of which I have here printed up, Perusha Ivra, where he wrote a number of simonim. We're not going to learn them, because Rav Moshe is going to quote them. And Rav Henkin's opinion was pretty much the same as that of the Rogatchover, which was... Well, I'm asking, that was a question, because we've learned the opinion of the Rogatchover in the Tzvi Dayesh, so asking you. Okay, I'll spare you this time. The opinion of the Rogatchover is that when two people, chibas mishpacha, when two people choose to live together, but they solemnize and declare and indicate in some formal manner, albeit that is non-halachically binding, either because it's a church ceremony or because it's a civil partnership or a civil ceremony or civil marriage. But there is, remember the kinyan issues? Remember those two dinim of the Rogatchover? There's kinyan and there is issues. So there's no issues, but there could be kinyanim. And the idea that they choose to solemnize in some way and declare officially that these two people are an item is halachically binding, and on that we would say Chazaka ein adam meisa bilas bilas nus, and therefore, according to the Rogatchover, coming out of a civil partnership would require a get me'ikar hadin. That is the opinion of the Rogatchover, which the Tzvi Dayesh dismissed. Now there are two chaverim, so to speak, to this opinion of the Rogatchover. One is Rav Henkin. And Rav Henkin, here in Perusha Ivra, wrote a number of tshuvas to try and demonstrate that I don't think he quoted the Rogatchover, I don't remember, but he is of the same opinion, that coming out of a civil marriage creates a kiddushin of some sort. It's not a proper kiddushin, it's not ishus, of course, but enough that it requires a get me'ikar hadin. Umotzasi loichaver, in a very unusual place. I'm just going to mention this to you, because in my research, although it's not mafurish, but I want to show this to you. This is from Piskei Din of the Batei Din, the Rabbani Ezori Haifa, Tovshin Samaches. It was a shaila came before the Beis Din, the Rabbanut Beis Din in Tovshin Samaches in Haifa, who were the Dayanim that were signed on it. I can find them later. And here is a fascinating quote. And I'm putting this all in the same place. You should write this down because you're not going to see this anywhere else. Ein b'sefer shuras hadin. I didn't give this to you. You're not getting this, okay? But for your notes, you should have the following. Ein b'sefer shuras hadin krach zayin shom kosa vagon Reb David Kohen Shlita brackets l'she'avar av Beis Din Haifa. He was the previous av Beis Din of Haifa. Not, I suppose, not to be. There's probably more than one Rav David Kohen. Yeah, Chevron or Rosh Hashiva. Yeah. She'omar loi hagon Reb Rosenthal Zatzal, who was also the av Beis Din of Haifa. She'ro'o b'sefer ne'ois shraga Lagon Reb Schreiger Feivel Steinberg Zatzal Shehevi b'shem ha'chazonish Shebenisuin ezrachim boi get me'ikar hadin. The Chazonish. Kei kachuva b'shmoi gam b'sefer Birkas Shlomo Lagon Reb Shlomo Tana Zatzal Evan Ezra Simon Beis Gam b'sefer Igrus Moshe Hevi Das Rav Henkin, and then we have the Rogatchover. So Rabbi Say, this is, we started off, and just for the sake of your notes, you need to know that this opinion, that civil marriage would create a situation and therefore require a get me'ikar hadin is the opinion of the Rogatchover, Rav Henkin, and the Chazon Ish. Okay, and that's just for your notes and for your general knowledge. Okay, having said that, it is not the generally accepted psak as practiced by Botei Din. We saw this in Reb Chaim Ozer. We saw this in the Sridei Eish. We saw this in other places, and we're going to see it further. Standard practice in the Botei Din today is to require a get l'chumra from a civil marriage, but b'mokim igun, right? B'mokim igun to be mekel. And where, okay, you've got that. That is your baseline. That's what you need to walk away with. The take home from all of these shiurim at the moment is, on the civil marriage, the way it's treated in Botei Din is, we are matzrich a get l'chumra, wherever possible, but where b'mokim igun, then we are mekel. Okay? Now, here, the first tshuva of Rav Moshe throws this whole psak into stark relief. Here's the story. We're now going to complicate the mix by bringing in a kohen. Okay? Let's see. Here, it is Even Ezer Chelik, or Igrus Moshe, Even Ezer Chelik Aleph, Siman Hey. Be'inyan Bas Yisrael Minochri, Shenisses Lekoyen Ba'arkois. Okay? Just the next page on your bundle. Next page. I've given you an arrow there. Yeah. This tshuva is dated Tovshin Chof Aleph, so it's 1961. Malas Kledi Didi Anichbad Moed Ragon Ravagon Naftali Hitz Levazer Shlita, whoever, don't know. Hine. Bidvar Echod Shekvar Nosoi Leisha. Somebody is married to a woman who is Bas Yisraelis. She's Jewish. Shenisas Lenochri Benisui Arkois. So there's somebody who is married to a woman, a Jewish woman. She was married to a goy, to a Gentile civilly, Nisui Arkois, and now after many years, she wants her to achrei harbe shonim reitza she sadalei kvei teirosei chuppah v'kiddushin kedas Moshe v'Yisrael v'hu kayin. So we have a woman. Let's get the case clear. We have a woman who was married to a Gentile. Relationship number one was with a Gentile civil partnership, civil marriage. That's gone. Now she has been living with a, and it's not clear to me in whether the second person, the Jew, whether they already did a civil marriage or not. That wasn't 100% clear to me because he starts the shaila off shekvar nosoi leisha, kvar nosoi. It's mashma. So husband number two is a kohen, right? He married this woman who had previously been married to a goy, married civilly, and now for some reason they have decided many years after the kohen and this Jewish woman have been living together and or might be married. It says nosoi. Now they want to do chuppah v'kiddushin. They've come to this Rav and asked this Rav, will you be Masada chuppah v'kiddushin for us? And this Rav has now asked Rav Moshe what to do.
I would read it more like now after, like years after the first Nachi relationship, now she wants.
No, not the first relationship. No, go back. Hine, b'dvar echod, shekvar nosoi, this fellow, shekvar nosoi leisha shehi bas Yisraelis.
Yeah.
He is nosoi leisha. Yeah. Shenisas lenochri b'nisoi arkois. She was nisoi nida. Va'atach rehab shonim, right, so she said like kvei terosai. Chuppah v'kiddushin kedas Moshe v'Yisrael v'hu kayin. Okay? Got the case?
Okay.
Good, let's see. Hine. First halacha, chevra, an important halacha. What would you say? You know what, let's do this properly. Let's do this as one should do as a teacher. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
The previous case of the Rabbi Sheb and the Chazon Ish was with a Jew, and it's based on the Cheskas, based on the Chazaka.
Mm-hmm.
Here we have a non-Jew, so there's no Chazaka of the non-Jew, which is he doing a Jewish Kiddushin because he can't make a Jewish Kiddushin.
No, but we just.
Why do you think that this person is asking Rav Moshe? What is his question?
Because his question does.
The Cohen can marry.
Yeah. I mean, the question is if the first marriage counts as something that she's a grusha.
Correct.
Yes,
That's it.
And I'm answering to that the reason why he would, I mean the reason why the first marriage would count somehow would based on the Rogachev, Rav Helke and Chazon Ish argumentation.
I see.
And I reject their argumentation because even according to the Rogachev,
Pardon? You can't.
reject the circumstances to apply their argumentation. Yes, because even
Okay, then you have to clarify.
Even I claim that I claim that even they would agree
that.
yes that the first marriage doesn't count because their argumentation is based on the chazaka. Yes, based on the chazaka of the Jew living together with the Jewish woman. Yes,
I'm saying that because the first chazaka is on a Jew, the chazaka is not on a goy.
exactly.
Fine. Fair
Therefore,
point.
I said
Fair
that
point.
even according to the Rogachev,
Fair point. That's a fair point.
Yeah.
The chazaka is a chazaka on a Jew. Here, relationship number one was a Gentile.
Yes. So therefore,
But you've missed out something.
Was Sprache exclusive for Jews?
But there is no such thing as kiddushin. It can't be because
Exactly.
the concept of kiddushin is a meaningless concept vis-a-vis a Gentile.
Yes.
But that's good. But we're all missing a piece of knowledge, a piece of data. And what you should all have asked me was, what is the halacha
For a coin.
of a kohen marrying a woman who's had a previous relationship with a Gentile?
So-
That's the fundamental shaila. And that's a machlokes rishonim and the mechaba, which
I
that
thought
is
there
really
was-
what it's about. But your point is valid that the chazaka here doesn't come into it.
Thought that the major issue for a Cohen marrying someone is that if she had relations 2 years before.
Where do you see that? Interesting.
Okay,
Isha
so from-
zoyno v'chalolo lo yikochu v'isha grushot misha lo yikochu kadoishu lelikov. So what's the definition of a zoyno? That's the question. Okay? Mefurish in Shulchan Aruch. Let's have a look. Machlokes Rishonim and Mefurish in Shulchan Aruch. Okay? So, hine, Yodua shepligi horishonim. This is Machlokes Rishonim. The Rambam ksheiro gam lekahuna. The Rambam's opinion is that a woman who had a relationship with a Gentile is kosher lekahuna, doesn't make her a zayna. That is your point. That was your point. Very good. That's the opinion of the Rambam. Ula harosh psula lekuna. It's machlekes Rambam and Rosh. The Rosh holds that she's posel lekuna. V'hamachaber be'evana ezra siman dalad sif yud tes poisek shepsula lekuna. It's mefurish mechaber. Ow. It's a mefurish mechaber. Siman dalad sif yud tes. We're not going to learn these simonim inside because these are the simonim you're not going to hopefully ever need. These are simonim of who can marry and who can't marry and etc. Akum ve'eved. I'm reading out the Sif in Shulchan Aruch. Akum ve'eved sheba'u ala mamzeris havlad mamzer. A goy or an eved who have a relationship with a mamzeris, the kid is a mamzer. Ve'imba'u al bas Yisrael. If they have a relationship, a Gentile has a relationship with a bas Yisrael, bein pnuya bein eshesish havlad kosher. Upogum lekahuna. The Mechaber pastors like the Rosh. The Vlad is kosher. Yes, a Gentile. Yeah. Not a mamzeris. You can't create mamzeris. Only a Yid can create mamzeris. So Eved haba on a Jewish woman. The child is Jewish, but can't marry a Kohen. Paskins the Beis Shmuel. Upasek ha-Beis Shmuel. However, the imnissus ein mitzin miyodai. And this is something we're going to have to...
So
However, because remember the kiddushin are toifus. If a Rav, wrongly, out of ignorance, whatever it is, didn't know this, or maybe they didn't know themselves, whatever, and it was done, the deed is done. A kohen marries b'chuppah v'kiddushin, maybe in good faith, he marries a girl who is the product of or either she, the daughter, or she has had a relationship with a Gentile, even though she's Jewish. So does the Kiddushin work? Yes, the Kiddushin works. The Kiddushin are toifas. Chai ve'lavin, if the Issa is only allowed, the Kiddushin works. But then we find out he's a Kohen. Or we find out that she's the son of a daughter of a goy, whatever. What happens now? So of course the Shulchan Aruch says she shouldn't have married. But now that they have, it's Paskin to the Beis Shmuel, you don't need to, not mechuyev to divorce.
That's practice.
Yeah, says Paskin to the Beis Shmuel, they don't need to divorce. Okay, we're going to stop here for today, but making progress. Shkayach.